Just watched it and
Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you. Because I am the hero the Sports Jedi deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Long live Lexus King.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network. We're going to talk some wrestling, the week of wrestling. But first and foremost, let me give my partner in the battlefield, the one and only PGH, Chris. Good afternoon, Chris.
good afternoon, man. Yeah, we're still on a little bit of a high from TNA Emergence last night. That was a great show. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't think this week in wrestling was that bad. There was one particular show that angered me a lot, Dynamite. But other than that, I didn't mind this week in wrestling. This week, especially last night, I went back and watched a little bit of the SmackDown from last night because I know we had it on in the background, but our focus was on Emergence. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get into all that stuff.
Indeed, man. We got a whole week to talk about. Thank you for everyone watching us on our platforms here on YouTube, on X, on Rumba, on Twitch, on Twitter, on all the different platforms that can hear our voice. We really appreciate us. Get those likes, subscribe. Let's get it going. But first and foremost, we want to hear from you in the chat. Please participate in our chat. It helps our algorithm with the like button. You guys chit-chatting with us in the chat, especially the chat interaction. It's kind of, sometimes we get a little library-ish with the chat interaction. We want to get you guys going. We want to hear from you. It's a two-way talk. You're not going to get ignored. You're not going to get blocked or insulted. You're not going to get insulted, cursed at, and then blocked, and then, insult your intelligence like somebody from New York in their mother's basement with drinking beer in a beer garden. We're not about that. We engage about, and if you don't like us, we got 2 words for you: get lost. So that's how much raunchy we're gonna get with you if you don't. Hey, look, we're not everyone's cup of coffee, but we're somebody's cup of coffee, and we get the job done for that person. So let's get right into it, man. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. We're not gonna jump into, because there's a lot of different things that has happened that we had a premium live event last night for TNA. We want to get into that. Monday Night Raw, another CM Punk attack at the end. LA Knight, all this situation. First and foremost, the confrontation. They were confronted by the Vision. Let me ask this here. Obviously, Monday Night Raw is centralized around Seth Rollins and the Vision, CM Punk, LA Knight. Are you feeling that connection, or are you feeling that it's a copy and paste with the same results of the ending to Monday Night Raw?
A little bit, but I think it's a little fresh to see LA Knight in kind of this big scene, right? He comes over from SmackDown to Raw, and now he's kind of in that main event spot. A lot of the people wanted him to see. So it's kind of fresh in that point. We have LA Knight, CM Punk working together, or going at it against each other, whatever. This is a good spot for LA Knight to be on. I know even when I said it too, when he gets on Raw, he needs to be featured in the big spots like this and with the biggest talents in the show. So I actually don't mind it. I'm not that big on LA Knight. I'm not that big of an LA Knight fan, but obviously there's story there with Seth Rollins. Obviously that was the match where he quote unquote fucked up his knee. So LA Knight being in this makes perfect sense, and they all want that world title shot. It's one of those things where CM Punk and LA Knight, obviously I think there's some mutual respect, but they all want the same thing and they all hate the same person. So I think it's fresh and new in the sense of obviously LA Knight being there, but I don't mind it. I don't think it's copy. It's a little copy and paste, you could say it, but with LA Knight being there, it sort of feels a little bit fresh.
Let me put this out there. I know everyone gets a little upset that Raw seems like it's the same finish each and every week, where you got the Vision on top, but they're trying to establish, because for once, before they were named the Vision, there was a lot of complaints about this group. Who are this group? Why should I care? Yeah. Invest my time in this group. Why should I care? Yada yada, all that narrative. Well, now they're giving you a reason, because they're taking out your favorites. They're stealing people's sneakers. They're destroying them, and they're becoming on top. They're wrecking, in the words of Roman Reigns, taking names and wrecking everybody. They're doing that. So wrestling fans love to complain for anything. If I If I penetrate you, you're going to yell, and if I pull out, you're going to scream. Which one is it? Which one is it? Which one? How do you want it then? You know, that's my question to the wrestling community in 2025. So I don't know what I can't get you guys, because this is what WWE is trying to establish. That this vision, they're not a group to be messed with. They're the top of the food chain. They're top of the evolution chain. They're showcasing. I don't get it. To me, I'm okay with it as we say hello to CDJ, Mr. Denver, Chris Denver in the building.
What up, Chris?
Yeah, so they keep showcasing us this group, Chris. I'm all right with the ending. And here is one thing. I won't be surprised if an LA Knight heel turn comes out. I know people were complaining about LA Knight. He's nothing but a cash for AIDS. Listen, the fan base want to cheer. We mentioned this not to go over. I'm not going to take too much on it because we already know the whole thing. It's happened Monday. We want to get to something that's currently happening with TNA and all that. LA Knight, people say he's nothing but a cash for it. I think he could still go in the ring. I think a little bit of a heel turn, change pace here for LA Knight where he's probably aligned himself with Rollins, but they have to make it make sense, not because. Don't give me just because. You got to make a little bit of sense. Look, Brunson return. And he mentioned it. You know what? I was I actually impressed Rollins after those 6 tsunamis. I need this guy on my side. Maybe there's something LA Knight where maybe Paul Heyman interjects and have a LA Knight into the vision because everybody wants a 4th man. Here's the thing. This is funny, and I hate to go on this. They introduced a group of 2. Oh, they need a 3rd man. It's funny. This is the wrestling community. They need a 3rd man. It's not going to hit. I take it for instance. When it came to John Cena, Travis Scott, they need that 3rd man. They need that 3rd man. That went nowhere. You had the vision. Oh, then now they need a 4th man. They need a 4th man. And then what is it? We need a 5th. It's like they always nitpick to find something to want to get on their pitchforks and complain. And in 2025, let it develop naturally. That's all I gotta say.
I agree as well.
Let me say one of the things that came out of Monday Night Raw that I'm gonna go through it too quickly because I really don't. The Grande Americanos, Dominik Mysterio teaming up with Grande Americano. Obviously, there's a lot of implication for tonight's TripleManía. We're gonna be doing a watch along on the playback. So TripleManía, could he be a mega champion for Dominik Mysterio, or would there be a ruse? Could the Americanos, because now there's 2 more Americanos, could they do the bait and switch on Judgment Day and Dominik Mysterio, where tonight it'd be implicated, where Grande Americano, the large edition, comes out as your mega champion? Who knows? I thought the match with Dragon Lee, good to see Dragon Lee on TV, by the way, getting some TV time on Monday Night Raw. Shout out to that. Great to see that there. That match with Mysterio and Dragon Lee was very good.
Yeah,
I wanted to give them honorable mentions.
No, I
wanted to give them honorable mentions.
I agree.
One thing that I'm a little thankful because we find out if you again. I did not watch Friday Night SmackDown because I was doing Emergence. I have it there. I started watching it, but I wanted to talk here because we got a busy afternoon going on for us. My point was Sami Zayn apparently now is a SmackDown. So all the people that complain, make it make sense of all the jumping and all the complaining and all the forced rants. Sami Zayn now is a member of SmackDown. So no more Sami Zayn Rusev, that match, whatever happened. Again, I'm just giving you the honorable mentions. And of course, the Tribal Thief. I like the fact that they named Brunson Reed the Tribal Thief, the Shula Fowler, all that good stuff there. Monday Night Raw, Becky Lynch, Maxine Dupree. It was what it was. We went over and under. Maxine looked impressive. You could tell her hard work with Natalya at the dungeon is paying off for Maxine Dupree. I wanted to give her honorable mentions. Great job there. Great job there for her. Becky Lynch is still going to be Becky Lynch. She gets the win. Are we going to get a Natalya Becky Lynch? I wouldn't mind that, but I need Natalya not to be. I need her to be the natty that we see on the independent scenes. I need that run. I don't need the Natalya Neidhart.
She said something about that too, because I saw something. It was like she wants to bring that character into WWE, but I don't think she is confident in WWE will treat the character right. I saw something about that. I think she said it where it was like, this character, it needs to be treated right. One wrong move and the character's done. So I hope so. I hope so, but I think she said that herself in a tweet. So don't quote me on that, but I saw something about where she said something like that. So I hope so. I hope so, because the Natalya that we see in WWE, she's been the sweet, nice baby face for too long. Bubba, Busted Open, has said this for years, and I can't believe I agree. She needs to be a heel. She needs to be a heel. We see the way she works in the indies, bro. I mean, in a real fight like that, underground, all that, Natty's gonna kick 95% of these girls' ass. She needs to be a heel. Let her find. It's like Naomi, bro. Like, Naomi is the only true heel on that roster. You're telling me you can't add somebody like Natalya to be another heel on that roster? You need more heels on the women's division, bro. You need it. Naomi can't do everything, and hell, we don't even know what's going on with her right now. She needs to be a heel.
I agree with him. I got a feedback here. Sorry, I had a feedback.
Oh, you didn't? My bad.
No, that was on my end.
But you probably had the video up on the background. That's why. No, but you know what I'm saying though? Like, you can't just have this division rely on Naomi to be the best heel that women's division has. I mean, you need somebody. And Natty's perfect. I just don't. Again, do they see anything they could do with her at this point? I don't know, and it sucks because she's doing more AAA and GCW and all this shit than she is doing any WWE stuff. So that kind of tells me WWE doesn't want the Natty Neidhart stuff involved in their programming, no? Because why does she have to do all these other promotions just for it to be showcased?
I agree with you on that. I don't know if they see that with her right now. Could it be that they don't want to? They're afraid of having Natty Neidhart heel because maybe they're afraid in the locker room they're going to say conflict of interest because TJ is a producer. And if she starts, and they really want to give her, if she really gets that push, because I think she could get that heel persona over majorly, Chris. But then I don't know if the talent. I don't know if the talent thinks that she could, this favoritism or nepotism. Listen, the wrestling business has always been
I forgot about
stereotype nepotism. And could the ladies say, "Oh, that's just them booking Natty strong"? Although and people say no, they love Natty.
They would have been doing it though. They would have done it a long time ago. If that was the case for TJ being because obviously he does majority of the women. He produces majority of the women's matches. Every single female in that locker room, they love TJ. They respect the hell out of TJ. I personally don't. It's hard because this business is very much like that, especially WWE. But they would have done that already. They don't even treat Natty like she deserves, bro. She's the longest reigning female on the fucking roster. Where is she? I don't believe any of that favoritism bullshit when it comes to her. She would have been doing shit. She has to go to AAA and GCW just to get booked. And again, TJ, I don't like that shit either because if TJ really if TJ was in charge of gets to say and who gets the women's matches, he would have probably picked Natty to have some of these matches. It's not up to TJ. He's just a producer. He's not a writer. He's a producer.
But since he's a producer, persuading the creative.
I agree. I see what you mean there. I see. No. I see what you mean there. But I think it would have happened though, if that was a worry about Natty. I don't know. But the fact is she's a lot better than a lot of those women. So we'll see. Again, we want to see Natty Neidhart get that opportunity as the heel. Listen, I was one of those that wanted her to be the inaugural Intercontinental Champion. Yeah, it would have. So, I wouldn't have mind that either. If you could remember, if you watched along with us, we were really into the Neidhart business of having her be in that inaugural Intercontinental Champion, which didn't happen. It just did not happen. And we'll find out where that goes there. Monday Night Raw, at the end of the day, was a good show. It went quickly. It went smooth.
Some people were, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. It was good. It was fine. It was fair. It was a good wrestling show. It was professional wrestling in 2025, what it is. You didn't have, here's the thing, for people to think the show was great and phenomenal, there has to be a return or surprise jumping ship. And they go, oh, that's the greatest Monday Night Raw there is. But then what's the point? Everybody was going, that's why everyone gets crazy back in 2 years ago when Levesque took over, because you had newcomers come in, Hit Row, Dakota Kai, Deegan Knox, this Karrion Kross, and we'll talk about Kross too. So and so. Oh, it was Triple H's cooking. Now there's no surprises and no returns. Oh, this shit sucks. Oh, this shit sucks. Beat me at my beer garden.
And when we do get a surprise return, like we did with Brock, it's never positive. Oh, why does he have to come back? Why does he have to come back, stealing all the spotlight from blah blah blah? Either way, the wrestling fans don't get satisfied, bro.
I tell you, if I stick it, you're gonna cry, and if I pull out, you're going to yell at this, and that's the wrestling business right now, the wrestling fandom. So I don't know what you want. I don't know what they want here in 20, and we'll go into NXT. We'll go into NXT. Speaking about screaming and yelling and in and out. What a battle! What a battle to start off NXT on Tuesday night between Lash Legend and Nia Jax. Nia Jax, best brawling match feud besides punching Becky Lynch in the nose in her wrestling career. And Lash Legend, I mean, you needed to have that big irresistible force moving the immovable object matchup. Back and forth those ladies did. People were wondering, why did you put this to open up the show? People are going to turn off the television. Those are those sexist pigs that are existing in 2025 when it comes to watching women's wrestling. Nonsense. The match opening for you know what? There was now no sleeper hold or cool down spot. The ladies bought it. It was watching Godzilla taking on one of those big monsters. The two monsters, King Kong, Godzilla, Mega Raw, and whatever, all that going at it. All in all, great showing, ladies. To me, that you could easily steal the match of the week, the way these ladies brawl. I love the way they got the finish. I love it. Look, it was so predictable. But how you did not predict that finish, that Lash Legend slip on trying to powerbomb and got annihilated not just once but twice by Nia on a mistake, and Nia capitalized. I loved it because you protect a former world champion in Nia Jax, Queen of the Ring, and you still had Lash Legend go over without going over, Chris. Perfect. Bravo.
I really like this match. I think this was obviously Lash Legend's best match she's ever had, especially singles competition, which she's barely had since Char Jackson's exited anyway. So this was a kind of a test for me for Lash Legend to see if she can swim with the main roster ladies. I know they kind of tested her and Jakara. A few months back. Saudi. In Saudi as well. Yep. So maybe this is just kind of another test for Lash to see if she can do it on her own. And I think she passed that test. I really like this match. It was two big women. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean that in their work styles, two powerhouses working really good together. I thought the table bump was huge. That was a good table bump, huge table bump. I thought it was very creative. And I think this is something they can go back to, especially when Lash Legend moves up in the main roster eventually. Even if Nia Jax maybe wants to come back and do something. If Lash Legend ever wins the the NXT Women's Champion, they could probably visit this back again. But this was like I said, both of their styles, because they're the same built, essentially, right? Powerhouse women. So I think this was a perfect match, and I think they both had a perfect opponent for each other, especially Lash, right? Because she's developing. So this was great.
No, and now if you see Lash Legend arrive on TNA Impact challenging JC Jane for either title, she went through the fire with Nia Jax, despite not going over. You see her in a different lens. Yeah, I can see that. Or even Nia Jax herself.
They're doing a good job with JC Jane though, because it's not like everything. Huge. It's not like everything. Every title defense is for both titles, right? She'll defend just one. So you can have her and Lash go at it for the NXT title, and then eventually do that. So yeah,
love it. Let's talk about some other stuff for NXT that came out on a route. I love the Secret Service and Chelsea Green going in the back, looking to find out who is going to be that mystery partner for Tavion Heights. They showed the different members of the roster, different ladies. We got to see, Kendall Gray. She called it Kendall Blue or Kendall Green, something different along the line. Didn't know her name, everything. But I noticed something. They cut away from Tyra May Steele. Later on in the evening, we find out for Tavion Heights, his partner of choosing her Olympic former teammate, former Olympic gold medalist Tyra May Steele is going to join join Tavion Heights to take on Ethan along with Chelsea Green. You know what? For Tyra May Steele, good job.
Yeah, I agree. That's our girl. She follows both me and Kev. So that's our girl. Shout out to Tyra May Steele.
In a match here, we'll move on quickly. Joe Hendry.
Yeah, I know a lot of you guys down there are talking about TNA already. Shit.
Yeah, we're gonna go right into that. CJD, excuse me. We're gonna get right into that. Joe Hendry, Charlie Dempsey. I thought that was really good. For Joe Hendry, he showed us that he could grab with Charlie Dempsey. It's not just a say my name, all that stuff. An entrance. He actually, to me, I thought that was Joe Hendry's best mat performance. Since he's gone over viral with his music.
Oh yeah,
big time. Kudos to Charlie Dempsey to elevating Joe Hendry on that.
That was a short match. I mean, we knew that was gonna be a short match. Look, it's no secret. He's NXT bound after his TNA contract's up. So.
Oh yeah. I want to give this another. I want to talk about this one here. The match with Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice taking on Fatal Influence. The winners, Kalani and Lola Vice. I thought since that pin was going to happen, where Kalani looks strong, gets the pin on Lola with Lola Vice, they get on top of. They beat Fatal Influence. I said, ooh, Fatal Influence might be going over Emergence here. Like, ooh, because they lost on Tuesday night. They come back, they'll come back to that crowd with those TNA Knockouts titles. We'll get into that too. And all in all, Kalani looks like she's Fatal Influence wasn't Jasmine Nix and Fallon Henley, but JC Jane gets pinned for Kalani Jordan, setting up an opportunity where Kalani Jordan on Tuesday in Philadelphia, they're going to talk about, I need a title matchup. Kalani, JC Jane is just another one to pat on JC Jane's resume, in my opinion, Chris. I don't think she drops that title.
I don't either. I'm not going to say much about this match. I didn't. It was all right. The only thing I will say, I think they could just do Lola and Kalani as a number one contenders match.
By the way, speaking of that, backstage promo for, I believe this is going to happen this Tuesday in Philadelphia. Yeah. It's going to be those two ladies, and they added Jada Parker.
That's right. Yeah, they did do that. Yeah, because Jada Parker, she had a good, she's been on a roll kind of, and she went back to Ava and complained. Again, I think Kalani's going to win that match.
I could see that too.
I could see it happening.
But here's the thing:
she is the inaugural NA champion. I don't see why. Yeah.
I've seen already Jada and Lola in Philadelphia. Now they're adding Callihan in the 16th.
Yeah, that's right. That happened last time they were there. Yep, that was a banger match though.
It was
Lola
good,
Vice
but we've seen it already.
Of course. No, why that's another. Again, Kalani getting the pin here on the champion is it's meant for Kalani.
I feel like they did a great job setting up for this Tuesday in Philadelphia for NXT.
Yeah, I wish I could be there, man. Fuck.
They're going on the road for the next few weeks, and they set that up. They're leaving the Performance Center. Could the Performance Center get an facelift, a little bit of a change of studios? Every time we think they leave Orlando, they think we think that they're going to change the studios. When I mean people that go to the Performance Center.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gone. It's been years now. It's gonna be over 18 months that I don't go to Performance Center live. So I'm gonna start scaling back on saying going frequently because it's been a long time. Do they do a facelift? Only time will tell. Then we get the Dark State match taking on all four of the number one contenders for across TNA men's division and NXT: Javon Evans, Trick Williams, Moose, and of course the TNA World Champion Trick Williams. I love the fact when the match started. I love the fact when they all worked together. They coexisted, and especially when they threw Trick over the ropes and he did that spot, clotheslined him and landed on his feet. That was dope. I thought they worked together. Javon Evans continued to show why he's a superstar. Moose, I thought, looked great. And again, Trick Williams leaving Javon to take the pin with Dark State. People think that he's with Dark State, but the longer they wait, if they're gonna pull that trigger, the longer I am not invested in Dark State. I see them. I'm at that mean with Roman Reigns. I want to change my channel.
Hank and Tank got heat wave, bro.
That too. Hank and Tank trying to indulge themselves throughout the night.
Dark State will become your new champion, or
I think so.
NXT Tag Team Champions after Heatwave. Yes, I think that's the only thing I got out of that.
Okay, fair enough.
I think that's what's happening at Heatwave. I think Dark State's going to become Tag Team Champions, and then maybe we'll see, Trick be with
much better. This was a better NXT this Tuesday than
last Tuesday. Oh my god! Yeah, big time.
Big time. I liked it. I like what they setting up because we had the personal concierge.
Yeah.
During that tag team title match with JC Jane and Fatal Influence, you had Marsha Slamovich, you had Ash in the ring watching. JC was more distracted on those ladies. It was announced by Ava and Santino via Santino Marella via phone that there's going at Heatwave. It's a triple threat for the TNA Knockouts title on WWE Premium Live Event. It's going to be JC Jane, Ash by Elegance, and Marsha Slamovich. So I'm invested. I can't wait to see where that goes. All in all, NXT was a really good show this Tuesday night. It flew well. It went 2 hours, went pretty quick. There's a different feel. Boy, there's a big difference when let's hold off on the All Elite Wrestling, pausing it because we're gonna jump chronological order because right now TNA is on fire.
Yeah, you guys at least really want to hear about TNA.
Yeah, so we're gonna push All Elite Wrestling back one segment back. Because let's go right into TNA. We talked about the Impact Zone in Rhode Island. We did our review immediately after we watched along. That, by the way, we do all our watch-alongs if you're new to us, to our channel, on the Playback app. Heal the Ring or Sports Jedi Network, Wrestling Sports Jedi Network. The video description, you could find the link right to it. I have two Playback channels. So one is for major sports, the major sports, baseball, basketball, all that stuff. And then I have my wrestling only one. And combat sports at times. So please follow us there. Tonight we'll be having TripleMania tonight at 8:45. We'll be going live there. We were live last night for Emergence. Let's talk about Emergence because that's the freshest thing to our minds. The premium live event from Baltimore, Maryland. This premium live event, despite there was no title changes, was extremely uber entertaining. From the opening, as a matter of fact, I enjoyed the 0 hour or the pre-show, whatever you want to call it, was really enjoyable, in my opinion. Seeing the hometown man, Ryan Nemeth. Who doesn't like Ryan Nemeth with his gimmick with his brother? And the hometown man getting to what his gimmick says, appealing to the hometown crowd, getting the crowd warmed up. I really enjoyed everything. Let's talk about the Leon Slater Cedric Alexander match. To me, this was what a first title defense for a Leon Slater to take on a veteran, strong, technical wrestler, high flyer. He has a kind of a total package except for the height and the build in Cedric Alexander. Perfect guy in that X division to go after Leon Slater. I hope they run it back. I thought the match was well paced. The time of the match, they gave this. Well, I think Canary had shout out to Canary for returning back, feeling better on the network. Part of the watch along, wanted to give her shout out, her flowers on that. Let me ask this to you, Chris. The Leon Slater match with Cedric Alexander. Your thoughts on the whole entire match, the feel, and even the result.
First off, the match was. I said this yesterday, right? This felt like me. I grew up in TNA since the very start, where that X division, man, is the reason why I fell in love with this fucking company. It's been a long time since we've seen an X division match really feel X division. This was great. I think Cedric coming to TNA was one of the best things he could have done right now with his career. He's going there, having the great matches with Leon. That division, X division, needed Cedric Alexander. And this was a very, very good opener. Cedric had a really good opener with Mustafa at Slammiversary, which we got to see in person. It was fucking great. I love that this is the type of my style matches, right? I love when All Elite Wrestling kind of does the back and forth type of thing. This is what it was: near fall kickouts, great matches. Leon with the high flying styles clash. AJ even gave him a shout out. I mean, Leon's on fire. Leon's on fire. He is definitely the future of that company. And they're gonna have a tag team match tonight. Is their taping for Thursday? So they're involved in a tag team match against the Hardies. So maybe we see something to where, you know, I know they had respect and they shook hands, but maybe during that tag team match something happens. Maybe we get this match again at Bound for Glory. Maybe with a Cedric winning. Even if Cedric were to win last night, I don't think it would have killed Leon at all, because this TNA, you know, they're a company where if they do rematches and trilogies, it means a lot. They do it really well. So if they want to run this match back at Bound for Glory, fine by me. I love it. I will love to see this match again.
Absolutely.
And shout out to Kaz, the TNA host, for following me on Twitter, baby.
All right. But here's what I wanted to speak about that. If they bring that match back and they tell it with the proper story, you know,
yes,
where Cedric is, you beat me just, you know, and they tell the proper story, you're going to get invested to watch that match again. Because, again, in ring, delivered. They delivered it. Those two gentlemen deliver it. The young man followed the veteran Cedric. They told that story. Now they have to tell a story outside of the ring. You don't have to go Cedric Alexander heel turn, but you have to give us a reason why Cedric wants that next match. You lost cleanly, but he has to say it's eating at him. It's consuming him. You know, with maybe and if they tell that proper story, then we'll see where that goes. I won't be surprised in Bound for Glory have an X Division match with the X Division with where they put the X on the top Ultimate and they have to go Ultimate X match. That, you know, won't be surprised if that's happening at Bound for Glory coming up. You never know where Leon Slater, when he's going to have a lot of comers, you know, that want to go after him. One thing I didn't want to leave out, I forgot to mention, was that opener for the pre-show where Indy Hartwell took on Rosemary. But what came out of that, I know there was a major storyline that continues to develop there. Is Danny Nuna too much involved in Indy Hartwell? Indy says she wants to get the women's title on her own. Danny Nuna prevented the miss in the match from Rosemary to hit. Danny Nuna felt a little broken. You know, it shows that she misses, or Jody Threat misses Danny Nuna teaming up. But Danny Nuna wants like a new fresh partner or a new fresh person in Indy Hartwell, where Indy's not feeling it. So that's the storyline in a triangle of partnerships, friendships, or befriending in TNA that's going to get played out the next couple of weeks. That looks like that storyline that, you know what, if Indy's not going to get put immediately to the world title picture, that's just a storyline and a different journey to go by until they're ready for Indy or Tessa. If she went different, then she returns. I thought she was returning last night. Still not yet for Tessa Blanchard yet returning. Maybe for the tapings, maybe in Minnesota in a couple of weeks when they go live again. So we'll wait to see what Tessa comes out. I wanted to not forget about that with the TNA women knockouts, where it becomes for Indy Hartwell. And one of the matches that was captivating, because the match card went quick. It was none of the matches felt long, but it was, and despite having a 9-card match or
10-card match.
10-card match, I felt it didn't. None of the matches were like, I never looked at, because we if you follow us on the watch alongs, I have a blue and a yellow rubber chicken that we squeeze to wrap it up. And we didn't. I didn't even look at it where the hell it was, because the matches were very entertaining. They were not uber long, not too short either. They were just, for reason timing wise, that show flowed extremely well for Emergence. Matt Cardona versus Mustafa Ali. Now this one here, the numbers game. Cardona again, you know, he's like a lone wolf. Cardona, Mustafa Ali, Agent Zero with some choke slams. The system runs in and runs them off. It looks like Cardona is going to endear himself with the system. Your thoughts here with the match? The right person went over, Matt Cardona?
Of course. This match wasn't the, you know, it was just a setup, you know, some multi-man matches and all that. I don't really This match wasn't bad, but it was kind of short. I mean, you kind of knew Cardona was get the win to go over. But I like that this was second on the card. Kind of get that out of the way. I didn't mind it. What's gonna come next after this? I don't know. Maybe Agent Zero and Cardona.
No, I'll tell you what it is. Like you said it yourself. Multi-man matches. Once the way
so
of
Mustafa and Agent Zero versus Matt Cardona and some other.
That's what I'm gonna say. What a way to introduce an Agent Zero to the wrestling community without taking pins, without looking like a jobber and looking strong and the massive monster. You team him up with the good hands, 6-man and against the system, or even Mustafa Ali or an 8-man, where Agent Zero is the powerhouse, but he gets distracted because he's so beating the crap out of Cardona on the outside. Here comes Jason Hodge or Tyler and they get the victory, or even Ali with the 450. Tasha Steele interferes, but Agent Zero comes out looking like the strength and goes over. Or even if the system comes up victorious, but at the end of the day, Agent Zero is the one we're going to come out talking about without getting a pin, and you prolong him from finally going one-on-one in the ring. And we don't want him to. This is the last thing you want to do if you're TNA. You want to build Agent Zero as this big behemoth, security guard, larger than life, great wall of Ali. But you have his match and he loses immediately. You're not going to believe in that big monster. He's already lost. He lost to so and so. If you build them correctly, slow and steady into that immovable force, then you're like, holy crap. I'm not saying this guy's going to run into the TNA world title picture, but if you want to build him as that behemoth, that's the route I think TNA is going when it comes to the Order 4 and Matt Cardona and this whole situation storyline-wise.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. We'll move to the next match here. The System versus First Class now. First Class, Rich Swann, AJ Francis. They get the victory. Order 4 kept around, so they kept lingering throughout this match. It was kind of weird, Chris. It was like, okay, what are we doing around with this? But I understood the down payment from was placed there. AJ Francis went over in his hometown. One of the first many to
Rich is also a Baltimore guy too. So it made sense because the System came out during that after the Cardona match. They came out, they're already in the ring, right? First Class comes out. And it made sense for Metaphor to kind of stay out because, the System interfered with their match. So it made sense for this to happen. But AJ going over in his hometown, Rich Swann, First Class. I liked it. I liked also what they did later in the day, which I did, but I don't, which we'll talk about later. But no, I mean, AJ continues to look great. I like the addition with Rich Swann, even though it's not really an addition. The return of Rich Swann and AJ, exactly. I should say. I thought Rich Swann looked good too. It's a little different, right? Not seeing KC out there because we're so used to him. But this is OG. It felt like OG stuff with these two. So happy to see these guys back in the ring together. Rich Swann had a good performance, and it made sense at the end of the day, right? AJ's a Baltimore guy. He's a Maryland Terp, so he went over in his home crowd, in his hometown, and had a really, really, really good match. So I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this better than this Matt Cardona.
Really?
Jake something. Yeah. Or no, not Jake something. What was it?
No, we'll get to that
yeah,
there as well.
Yeah, we'll get to that
Mustafa Ali
and stuff. But Mustafa Ali, thank you. So but yeah, I liked it. And Ali looked good too. But no. AJ was good. AJ, I like the First Class match.
And we'll find out with Rich Swann. He hasn't missed a beat. Rich, it wasn't about his in-ring, even the promo. It was about when the wrestling, when he's not the professional wrestler, what got him in some trouble. What never was what in the ring, and never was his promo. It was the other stuff. Hopefully that gets sorted out with his career.
I think he's good. He looks better too. There was a Philly convention show that I went to a couple years back. He did not look good. So he looked good tonight or last night.
We'll find out. And of course, that's that second. There's 3 Baltimore, Maryland hometowners on this card. Actually 4 with the hometown man, but but those 2 guys went over in their town. We go right into this one that had us scratching our head. Not because of what happened, of who's in the match, but what happened. It's the street fight between Mike Santana and Sami Callihan. Now, this match was Sami Callahan said he wanted to prove himself to see if he's up to the standard of TNA to compete still in the ring. He has a cushy job. The story is he's got a cushy job in creative or part of the office, but he's also a competitor. But Moose, which by the way, I love that Moose tried to apologize to Sami. Like they did a backstage vignette promo with Moose. Felt like a heart to heart, and Sami wasn't hearing it. I got to be the death machine. Right now, I'm concentrating. I'm focused. You brought me to this crossroad in my life. I'm paraphrasing. Now I have to focus on being the death machine and prove myself that those are just words from your mouth, but my actions are going to show that I belong in that ring. I paraphrase, guys. So we get the match. Sami Callahan, Mike Santana. Hell of a match. He's trying to see if he's the standard. If he loses, he's going to leave his boots in the middle of the ring. The match back and forth. They bought some of that independent wrestling gory stuff with the staple guns and stapling the armpits, the this and that, and the hardcore stuff. There's a spot where there's a spin the block on Callahan where we know as a wrestling fan, he was supposed to kick out, and Sami Callahan did kick out. The referee, Daniel Spencer, went through with the count of 3, which I don't think that was supposed to be the finish of that match. I was saying it when we were reviewing it. Santana was going to have a moment where he was going to do the Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, I love you, and I have to finish it. And Sami was going to say, do it already. And that spin the block would have been much more emphasized and much more putting a little extra sazon into that spin the block to end Callahan's career. They took away the anticlimactic. The referee had a slip up.
So this is the reason why I can't give this show a 10 out of 10 or even a 9 out of 10, 8.5, right? This is kind of the reason. It sucks. It sucks because I thought they were look, the indie staple gun stuff, they rarely do this shit on TNA. I'm not going to sit here and rip it because I don't like when AEW does the staple and all that. But TNA, we rarely get this. This was supposed to be a last match. So, and everything made sense about the stipulation, right? So I went back and watched this morning that specific spot. Callahan just kicked out. I mean, the ref wasn't even looking. He 1, 2, 3, and he wasn't even looking at what was going on in the ring. I don't know if nobody told him to finish or he was in the moment. I don't know what happened with that, but that made this match kind of not that great. I'm going to be honest because the match was back and forth, right? With the paper cut, like they did that back and forth kind of indie stuff, which already to me, I'm not that big of a fan of, but I get what they're doing here with this, right? Sami Callahan's last match, this is what he does. He needs to go out in his style. I get that. I'm not, whatever. But when you get to that spot, it's like, we know as Santana fans that one spin the block never gets him the win. It never gets him the win. So when he, that I expect the kick out, and it didn't. It happened, but I don't know. Santana was. I don't even know what to say. Santana was visibly pissed after the match. He went back. Sami kind of looked a little confused too when he was getting up. I think it was just real bad communication on the ref. I don't want to blame the ref, but you have to. Unfortunately, you have to because he's the guy that is really supposed to be in charge. He has the earpiece. He's not in the ring. You're that ref. We see it with Unreal, but it applies to every wrestling company. You have that guy in your ear, which we speculate's Tommy, right, or somebody. But he must have missed it. He must have missed something. He must have missed something, or he just wasn't paying attention. I don't know, but it ruined the match. It ruined the match because, again, like you said, we were supposed to get that moment. Joe Hendry was on commentary. And then you don't think he was supposed to be involved in something? They brought Joe Hendry out here for a random, not a random, but a random street fight. And this is how you ended it? There was obviously supposed to be more. So I don't know. We're not obviously going to know what was that more, what was supposed to happen, but it ruins the match that they had overall. To me, at least. I don't know if that's a little big of a stretch or not, but I mean the match it was good. It got a little slow. It was still slow to that point. I think after that they were supposed to pick it up. Because it was back and forth with the staples, back and forth with the paper cut, and then Mike Santana got his shots in. It was a little bit back and forth, and they didn't really.
Don't forget the cactus drivers, 2 cactus drivers by Sami Callahan.
Exactly. So they were gonna speed up this tempo a little bit, and we didn't get there. I knew what they were trying to do, right? In this style of match, you want to build up slow spots, get the crowd. Ooh. After that kick out, I believe that they were gonna keep going.
Chris, here's the thing. They never took the audience on an emotional roller coaster. Is this the end? Is this the move that's going to end Sami Callahan? Sami Callahan showing resilience that, no, brother, I am not going out that way.
That should have been it. That should have been it.
Tonight, brother. And maybe Daniel Spencer had too many crab cakes and he had to go to the bathroom. Maybe, you got to get him some dude wipes. We're announced now that it's going to be the official sponsor of the Sports Jedi Network channel. So we're gonna have dude wipes in our future. So dude wipes. Maybe Daniel Spencer needed some dude wipes after eating too many crab cakes. Maybe it was coming when all coming down and it hurts inside. I don't know. When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, man. Brother. Those crab cakes give him a little bit of a boo-boo.
It hurt.
Bubba guts.
It hurt the match. Yeah. It hurt Sammy's last thing. That's why probably when they ended the match and they did the whole backstage thing, I don't think they were gonna do that. They did that because they had time.
Yes, let's talk about that. By the way, what they did when the match was over, Callahan leaves his boots. They walked him back to the locker room or back to going down the stage, going down the stairs, and to a round of applause by a few of the TNA talents there. The camera did not show everyone because they purposely only focused on the first few at hand. And then, Daniel Spencer was the referee. He was turning all colors. You could see him. He was pale. He was like, get out of my way, brother. I got to go to that bathroom. He almost pushed Callahan down the stairs, running to the toilet. It kind of seemed that way. But what an act like comedic. You didn't see Santana. Santana, when they did, Santana was walking up like a man on a mission out. Like he looked like he was leaving the company, but he wasn't. I'm not saying he wasn't. He was that upset.
Throwing it. Yeah. The referee even said, come here, so he could raise his hand up. He said, get the fuck away from me. Yeah. I was like, holy
shit. There was some disconnect emotionally there because, look, Santana respects the business. Santana respects paying it forward, recognize his history with Sami Callahan, and he knew for a guy who's going to, and he had the honor, the privilege to be the last match of that man's career. Yep. He wanted to make sure that was a memorable moment. If he was going to get the rub and go over, going over on a legend like a TNA legend in Sami Callahan, and he's calling himself the standard, he knows that wasn't plausible, amicable for him. And I agree with Mike Santana to be frustrated like that.
Absolutely. That's his best friend.
Frustrated.
That's his best friend, man. He wanted to make sure his best friend went out on a high note. And the referee fucked it up. It's that simple.
And there's no coming back from that. There's no way of let's redo it. You can't.
What are you gonna redo? He already took the boots out and put it in the middle of the ring. You built this all up for this moment. You can't.
It was can't do it.
You can't. There's no do-over. That's why Santana has every right to be fucking pissed. Sammy, I actually respect him a lot because I would have crashed out. I would have been pissed, man. This is my last match. It's supposed to be about me, and
I think he just wanted the moment to end. That's it. It's like, you know what? It is what it is. You know what?
For not paying attention and doing your job, man. You didn't even look at the pin. You looked at the fucking timekeeper when you made that 1, 2, 3.
Confusion. There was confusion there.
There was confusion.
There was confusion. Shit happens. Absolutely.
But
it shouldn't be happening in that. The stakes and the ramification of that 1, 2, 3 was so important. And you had to make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's, and that fell flat on TNA.
It felt really,
yeah. But for Callahan, thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that your last match went like this, bro. Because you are a fucking TNA legend. You absolutely. It sucks. But happy we still got to see you out there one more time against our boy. So.
And one thing I got to say, and we'll move on from this one. Long live the Death Machine in TNA. Let's go.
Yeah, man. We're never gonna. Yeah, we ain't gonna see those classic hardcore matches again like that with him, Macklin. Oh, kiss those goodbye, man. Macklin ain't gonna have that type of chemistry with anyone.
The dude shaved his hair off on television and did all this crazy
Oh,
stuff.
I'm gonna miss that. You know, man, I'm gonna miss that freaking theme. Oh, I say it every time he comes out. I'm gonna miss that theme song, man.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. But thumbs up for Sami Callahan, thumbs down to the referee as we move on here. We had the Knockouts champion tag team match, the Fatal 4-Way. But before that, we had an announcement. We had Tommy Dreamer, we had Jazz, we had President Carlos Silva, we had a table in the middle of the spot. I said, what are we going here? We got are they announcing a television deal? A television deal?
I thought that was going on too.
Are we moving nights? What? When is Vince McMahon coming out? Did we just sell the company? Pow! I'm the new boss. I mean, no. It was congratulations, though, because they announced before the match even starts, that TNA re-signed none other Li Ying Lee. I like to call her Zia Lee, but it's Ying Lee to a multi-year contract there. Of course, her partner, Zia Brookside, was at ringside with her. Congratulations. A little bit emotional. Did it take away from the concentration of maybe Ying Lee? But it was a great moment. I like that they recognized her in public. Why not? In a world where everything is backstage leaks and this and that, they went in front of the cameras and they recognized the talent on television. You know what? I'm not. If you hated it, then you probably never was given recognition in public. Who doesn't like a little recognition in public? Seriously. Everybody likes a little recognition in public, whether you're in school, you're the best speller in the world, in the fifth grade, yada yada yada, or this and that. You like that little. You like to be recognized in public. You know that it is what it is. Some people they may never get it. They have to fight. They have to get a theme song and say they're the best of the best of the best. I don't know, but you know, I don't know. But let's go right into this fatal 4-way match with the knockouts. Of course, it's the Elegance brand, your Knockouts Tag Team Champions, the Fatal Influence, the Inspiration, and of course, Brookside and Zia Lee or Ying Lee. I was upset with Mackenzie Mitchell. Was very upset with her because she did not tell me where she was from.
Yeah.
And I wanted to hear that Ying Lee is from Chongqing, China. Please. Gotta tell me those things. Gotta tell me these. Those are important to details for this gentleman here.
I can't believe anyway, they didn't even tell us that and they made a whole big deal about her. Come on now. Tommy should have said, we're re-signing from Chongqing, China. And then that's when this should have happened. No, shout out to Zia Lee. Hopefully they give her a knockouts run. Something. Yeah,
we'll find out where that goes there. The match, back before the match started, but here's each individual of the knockouts represented had a person in their corner. For Zia Lee and Brookside, they had Marsha Slamovich in her corner. For the Inspirations, they had Maid Sade, which is formerly known as Jakara Jackson. For a Fatal Influence, you had your TNA Knockouts champion, JC Jane. And, of course, for the Elegance brand, you had Ash by Elegance with the Iceman, the Crystal Conciliere. I love how this match, because they all started with the brawl with the women. The referees throughout all the singles competition. We're going to wrestle in that fatal, except for Jakara, aka Made Said, are going to wrestle in that triple threat at Heatwave. They also mentioned the Premium Live event with Heatwave for NXT, which was good thing there, good cross promotion. A lot of distraction, a lot of back and forth, quick pace action. I like that Maggie Lee got some in ring, which she showed me that she could go in ring. We all know she does some good independent wrestling on the weekends and all that stuff. Now we got to see her on TNA TV. I thought Jasmine Nix looked really good. I thought Jasmine Nix, the more bumps she takes in the ring, the better she's going to get. The Iconics look a little bit slow. The Inspiration, well, just a tad slow. I like the fact that they were trying to be safe with their cross bodies on the outside, the way they moved. And of course, Heather by Elegance moved fairly well. Match was okay. It was nothing. It wasn't the greatest. It wasn't the worst. It was a good storytelling match where M by Elegance uses the Knockouts title and gets the pin and retains by all means necessary, Chris. And by all means, they won elegantly.
I loved it. Ash by Elegance retains Heather and Maggie. I liked the match. It was good. I liked, Xia Brookside and Ying Lee got their cool high fly dives out of the way. The inspiration, man. They're not doing it for me, brother. Shout out to Canary. I know you love those girls, man, but Peyton Royce. I mean, I know both of them just, are getting out of motherhood and they come back. But man, those kicks that Peyton Royce were bad. I'm not even going to use any other word. Those were awful. But I thought Fatal Influence looked strong despite them not winning. I thought they had a chance of winning this match at some point. I still think they looked like the strongest tag team. Even from the mic, from that promo battle they had on Thursday to in the ring, they still looked like the strongest tag team in that ring. And Xia and Ying Lee at number 2. But the ending and the result, I mean, it makes sense, right? I still think that Ash and Heather battle against Maggie Lee, whatever, the Elegance brand, they are doing some of the best work when it comes to heels. The personal concierge. Look, I'm not just saying this because I think that guy's one of the coolest fucking dudes ever, and he's hilarious. He's the reason why that group is the way they are. Nobody's doing the talking in TNA like the personal concierge, and especially when that knockouts division where, Ash by Elegance, we know each other, man. We took a nice photo. You're awesome, but your promos just don't sell me, especially when you're a heel. That personal concierge makes you want to look at that Elegance brand. It makes you want to pay attention. So I think the result is fine, especially with Ash being on NXT. Especially with her being on NXT, they want to make her look credible, tag team champion. I know obviously she's not in it right now. Maggie has the other one, but you know what I mean. She's a champion. So I enjoyed the match, but the right person won. I just wanted to highlight some of the teams I thought looked strong. I thought they all looked kind of strong. Inspiration looked the weakest out of the teams to me.
And you know what? It doesn't mean that the inspiration cannot resonate or get invested with them. I think they might need more. They might need more bumps. Remember, they're coming out of ring rust.
They're coming out of ring rust. They're coming out of ring rust.
Inactivity.
They just had kids not that long ago.
Yeah, motherhood.
I don't know.
They're still motherhood. Doesn't mean that they finished because they gave birth. They still moms.
No, right.
But they're juggling a lot of things, and, and it's kind of represents a little bit in the wrestling ring there, but doesn't mean that they could get better. There's always a level to get better.
And they're veterans. They're well known when it comes to female tag teams, right? So them being on this card and on this match, great. You get 2 recognizable people for your show. But they didn't look strong last night, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Let me ask this, Chris. And I know it's going to sound a little redundant, and that's the problem when this is wrong or bad when you burn out through the roster and division quicker. If you would have switched the inspiration and build the inspiration and put in Danny and Jody Threat, I think that would have slapped.
Oh, see, yeah, Spitfire, man, they've ever since they been wanting to feud against each other and want to be singles acts, we kind of forget how good they were as a tag team. That's why they and Ash by Elegance were fucking playing hot potato with the titles for 3 or 4 months, especially when we first started the playback. That during that time, earlier this year. Oh my God! Now I wanted this. I wanted more NXT or TNA Knockouts tag teams to be involved. I do.
I agree.
Just don't get rid of the best one. Get rid of the. Go ahead.
If you would have had the Iconics wrestle in the pre-show, build them up, whatever, and they're there, and then you would have had Danny and you had Spitfire in there, and then they lose, and Spitfire coming out of it, Elegance retain, and then coming out of it, the snapping of Danny Nuna with Jody Threat. I had enough of you already. Yada yada. And
I mean, the only thing
they could have saved that there. Yeah. And then build it, and then have the inspiration, get their ring in, get the bumps in, get going, and then start elevating them towards that top of the TNA Knockouts division. It felt like the inspiration showed up. We're gonna put them right to the top, and they're not ready yet. For the lights are a little too bright right now. They're still. It's like when you're in a dark room and you go into the bright lights right now. You tend to squirm a little bit, and you're not seeing clearly that because the light is too bright right now. Doesn't mean that they don't belong in the lights for the Iconics. Yes, they've been there before. They've done that before, but not quite yet. They need to slowly adjust their vision to the bright lights right now, and they're not there quite yet. And I just don't want the wrestling community or the TNA fans to not embrace the Inspiration's return, because I still think they're going to, by the end of this time next year, they'll probably be on top of the Knockouts division, and we want to see more, of the Inspirations. Again, it's not discrediting them or saying they're terrible, they stink. They're not there yet. They're not sharp enough yet. They're not there in that level to be in that top of the Knockouts division, not yet. I think they need some more seasoning, more ring rust to remove out of them going forward. So let's see how that goes there. This one that didn't need no ring rust, nothing, and it was just trucking through forward. It was your no disqualification international championship, Steve Maclin, Jake something. This was a brutal effing fight for that international title. You saw heavy strikes. You saw power bombs on the steps. You saw Olympic slam, dives off the stage, face paint, brutality. Frankie Kazarian on commentary again, it's still a question mark with Kazarian. What's his role? Is he going to be an active wrestler, or is he just going to say, hey, look at me, I'm still with the company? I don't know what Frankie Kazarian's role is. All I know, it didn't take away from this match. I was very surprised that we got a clean finish with Maclin getting the pin. A couple of bag-em and tag-ems from Maclin. Jake something continues. Is there going to be future in the gold for something? Yes, because he's that kind of captivating. It was a tough one to root for, Chris. I didn't know, either way they went for, something would have won that international title. I was okay with it. I was happy for it.
Yeah, me too.
I kind of was rooting for Maclin because I really am a big Maclin fan. I want him to hold on and be one of the longest reigning, set the standard of the longest reigning inaugural international champion. Like, man, this guy held, if he's next April, he's still the champion. I wouldn't mind one effing bit. A full year, calendar year of Maclin as champion. Let's go. But all in all, your thoughts on the whole match and the outcome?
I got nothing much to add, man. That was you took it perfect. Steve Maclin looked badass with that face paint coming out. You already know he was ready to go. Like you said, hard-hitting match between two big dudes, wrestled the same style. I wanted this title to be showcased on the PLEs or pay-per-views because it wasn't at Slammiversary, and I was very upset about that. Steve Maclin's great, man. He's great. With them adding, obviously that's the digital media championship, so there's not really them adding another title, but they didn't take the digital media championship serious. Let's be honest. They're starting to take more serious, and I think Steve Maclin's the perfect guy, right? He does really good promotion for whatever city TNA is going to. Former Marine, U.S. whatever he was in the Air Force. So he knows what he's doing.
He was a Marine. Don't Frankie Kazarian.
Don't Frankie Kazarian it, right? Yeah. I knew it was one of the two, bro. I knew it was one of the two.
And Frankie Kazarian has influence even on this channel. Look at that.
Frankie Kazarian. Shout out to Frankie Kazarian, man, because he said that too. Whatever the hell you were from. Oh, that was awesome. No, Steve Maclin winning is obviously the best choice. Like, if he can have that title for a year, I don't care. No, who's gonna take it off him? Who's even worthy of taking it off him? It sucks with Sami Callahan retiring because these two have banger freaking matches every time. He could have been great for that, but I mean, it's gonna be one of those things to where that title is gonna revolve around Sami Callahan, Jake something, Eric Young, Frankie Kazarian,
Mustafa
Ali. You can add Moose in there. I mean, that title, I know the X Division is kind of like that secondary title, but X Division to me is the Leon Slaters, the Mustafas, the Cedrics. This title is perfect for guys like Steve Maclin, Moose, Eric Young, Frankie. So I loved it.
And I love the comment that Heather says in the chat, because Steve Maclin loves to fight. He's the TNA version of Sheamus.
Yeah. That's a good comparison. Yeah, I agree.
Very great comparison. Very great comparison. Love that. You know, Sheamus doesn't put on a bad match, banger after banger, and Macklin is just one of those guys. He wrestles. I'm gonna watch. You know, he doesn't need a flashy entrance, a catchphrase. You know, tag him and bag him. Simple. Right to it. He's gonna tag him and bag him because that's what I'm gonna do. And I love that with Macklin. I love to see that with Macklin. Where it goes with that division. And listen, just like the opening contest with Leon Slater and Cedric, they tell me I'm gonna see this match again. I have no problem watching it. But you know, you don't want to go to the well too many times. Again, if you tell me another story with it, like something really wants that title and he's doing whatever it takes, taking out Sam, give me competitors. I need another shot at Macklin. And Macklin is like, you gotta, and he has to run a gauntlet to get to him. Yeah, let's go. Where he's hungry for that title again, and you're showing something is like feed me more, no pun intended, to rhinos. I'm not rhino. Ryback. Yeah, bareback. You know,
Ryback.
Clone. Yeah, him too. Ryback. All that. You know, and he wants to get his hands on Macklin. Like that's his obsession. I'm for it, but they just got to know how to tell that story there going forward. We'll get right into the TNA Tag Team Champion matchup between the Hardys and the Rascals, where we're like, this match, I enjoyed this freaking match. I love the Rascals move so quickly. The Hardys were a little slowed it down, but when they needed to pick up the pace and do their things in a tag team as a team, they move quickly. I don't care what you're telling me. Oh, the Hardys, old guys, they're gonna take on the Team 3D. No one asked for it. Old timers. The Hardys in 2025, even in the way they wrestle, still are freaking entertaining. They're more entertaining than a lot of tag teams in the WWE, in All Elite Wrestling, and dare I say, in NXT.
In the Independence as well. They're doing House of Glory right before that Bound for Glory show. That House of Glory card. That's the day before Bound for Glory. Yeah, the Hardys are on that card too. So maybe we see something with Bubba, right, leading up to that Bound for Glory card. No, but about this match, the Rascals, man, they remind me a little bit. I don't want to make the comparison that they remind me of the Hardys, but like these two tag teams in the ring, man. I think obviously Jeff and Matt had great matches with ABC. That was their TNA dance partner, in my opinion. But the Rascals they've just taken that spot, even without Trey Miguel, even with Myron Reed. My apologies. They looked phenomenal. They looked so good. I mean, Zach Wentz starting off the match with Matt is so good. The Hardys know what they're doing still, right? They still know how to get the crowds over in their matches, not just them being the Hardys, right? We see Matt starting off the match a lot. That gives Jeff the energy and the rest to when that hot tag comes, the crowd's going to go crazy for Jeff, and they can still keep doing their moves. And I think the Rascals, they're perfect because obviously they're young dudes. They're really quick, but they can adjust to the way that the Hardys, because the Hardys, they're not in their 20s anymore, bro. They're a little slower. So they do a good, and I think the Hardys, I think they move faster and better because the Rascals, like, they make them feel like the Hardys from 2001. Like, I think the Rascals are the perfect dance partner in TNA for the Hardy Boys. They really do. They make the Rascals look good, or the Rascals, make the Hardys look phenomenal. That's all I got. The Rascals make the Hardys in 2025 look great.
Look, Chris, in 2025, hell of a match between the Hardys and Axiom, who are considered to be the best tag team.
Yes.
They put on a great show.
Yes.
Hardys, the Rascals here put on a freaking great show. Common denominator is the Hardys. The Hardys are the top. If you're wondering if they're the best tag team of all time right now, at least for the modern time, you know, some people are going to deny some people are going to say it's the no-selling Road Warriors. To me, I watched them. I'm not a big fan of the Road Warriors, so I'm not going with that. I know people say, what? No, no, I'm not a fan of the Raw Warriors. Never was. I never was a fan of the Warriors. Yeah, but to me, the Hardys are one of those type of teams. You know, the Hart Foundation. To me, I think the Hart Foundation, psychology wise, were better than the Raw Warriors. But that's another story for another day. That's just me. You know, but my point was the Hardys continue to work at this rate, smart, getting over other tag teams, making them, even though they went over as a tag team. Look, the Nemets, they never teamed up as brothers. And right now, we consider them to be one of the top tag teams in TNA, and they only have a few months together as a tag team. Yeah, they're brothers. They know they should, but it's different when you're in the ring. You know, I find in wrestling terminology, the Team 3D are more brothers than the Nemets because they know each other's moves in the ring, the sequence, not the Nemets. I mean, that's what the comparison I'm trying to make. By the way, you made a great statement earlier. I think Rascals have filled the void of ABC. It's a tough one. We hope Chris Bay gets better.
But Ace isn't with the company anymore.
But I wanted to shout that out right now. Congratulations to Ace Austin. Signing with All Elite Wrestling. He is now part of the All Elite Wrestling brand. Make that money, young man. Kudos to you, man. I just hope that they use you correctly. We talked about the matches, and we were talking about the matches that you could be incorporated with against Ricochet, against Kyle Fletcher, against Bandito. You know, there's some
Ospreay, Darby Allin. I mean, there's so many.
Yes. Oh yeah, Darby Allin. You know, if you're gonna put him and stick him in a
Keshna, holy
to Keshna, or you're gonna roll your eyes in some trios matchup with the Gun Club and Ace Austin.
That would be cool.
You know, that's a lot of good stuff there. Ace Austin brings an energy, and I know a lot of people don't know who he is. I know some people pretend they're TNA wrestling fans and they go on Twitter and don't know who that is. And meanwhile, they pretend they love the company and they get called out about it, and then they want to block people. Come on. Be careful when it's a double-edged sword, X. You know, so when you tweet something, you're going to get
ABC. I'm gonna miss
to me. I thought
that fucking card, bro.
I thought ABC as a tag team was the best tag team in professional wrestling before Chris Bay got injured. But now Ace Austin has a chance to do this on his own. You know, and you know what? Maybe he wanted to leave TNA. People's like, why would you leave TNA? He would have been top of the card because it just brings his memory of his friend's injury, and maybe he can just put it past him because that's where he has success with his friend. And now he goes to All Elite with a clean slate, clean canvas of Ace Austin as a singles competitor. But why not NXT? Because there's a partnership with WWE and TNA where it's going to remind him of Chris Bay. I'm not saying he hates or wants to forget Chris Bay. No, he wants to honor his friend. But he wants to also prove he could do this on his own. And I think that's what All Elite Wrestling was great for him moving forward. I think he's going to be a star there. But again, it's up to the company if they're going to allow that. How bright of that star is he going to shine in All Elite Wrestling for Ace Austin?
I just hope they don't send him the Ring of Honor.
That's what I'm afraid of. Couple weeks there, the flavor of the month. Ring of Honor, you go behind the paywall, and I hope not. I hope not because But we mentioned of some wrestling matches that at least excites, and I'm not an All Elite Wrestling fan, but just talking about it excites my interest. For me, that's the type of guy that I'm willing to watch the other company, All Elite, to watch a little bit of Ace Austin because I know what the guy delivers. I want to see that. That's a career I want to follow in All Elite Wrestling. I'm good. I'm invested, and I'm not a fan of the company. I like it. Hopefully, they move forward. Congratulations again to Ace Austin. Well deserved, brother. Well deserved. I hope he just doesn't get off and vanish because Josh Alexander was the walking weapon. What is he doing? He's part of the All-Star challenges for fictitious money.
We'll get into that bullshit.
No, we'll get into that. Let's finish up our Emergence.
Stand that show.
Let's finish off the Emergence pay-per-view or premium live event conversation, and then we'll get right into All Elite Wrestling. We skipped it because we wanted to get, and
this is down better.
We had the first class penthouse where AJ Francis comes out with some cheap champagne. Can we get him some good bubbly stuff there? We need to raise the budget there.
They're in Baltimore. What do you expect?
So Cooks it is. Cook champagne it is. All right. So the mascot comes out And out comes the system, and the mascot's doing the Ray Lewis dance. Chris hates it because he is a Steelers fan, and the Steelers fan, it's like Halliburton to my guy
like
Jalen Brunson.
WWE glazing Halliburton, bro. Like, I don't want to fucking see this damn mascot on my wrestling show. Awful segment. 0 out of 10. No, I liked it. It was all right. Besides that stupid bird, it was cool because AJ's the hometown guy. He just had his match, and they probably needed something to get ready for the main event. So, without that stupid bird there, I thought it was a good segment.
All right, let's go to the main event. Your TNA champion, Trick Williams, taking on the hometown Moose, the franchise, the big Moose. I'm going to say this. This was Trick Williams' best one-on-one matchup ever in his career. Best matchup. He finally won clean. He didn't need multi-man matches. He didn't need this. He didn't need this distraction. He didn't need another person holding his hand. I'm not saying he holding his hand, holding the storyline of the match for him to come in and pretend the knee injury. Trick Williams' best match. By the way, Trick Williams' entrance in the Maserati coming in, Trick is a star. And if you don't believe he's a star, he's not good for TNA. And listen, we want Mike Santana to be our world champion. But if Trick Williams, if you still think Trick Williams isn't good for TNA, you're deaf.
Yeah.
Because
you're fucking blind.
That too. Because you could hear it as soon as that music, the crowds, TNA crowds, are chanting "Whoop that Trick" loudly over his own opponent. Trick Williams still generates a buzz, eyeballs, and want from a diverse crowd in Baltimore. Trick Williams and Moose, yes, Moose was going to get the heroes conquered, heroes welcome. But I thought Trick Williams stole that entrance from the hometown favorite. Great matchup.
Yeah, bro.
The way they told the match, when you get trick shot to the back of your head, Chris, no matter who you are, you could be a Moose, you could be a Giant, you could be an Undertaker. You're not going to kick out from getting kicked in the back of the head with a knee.
No, I thought this match, I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was great, but like Kev said, right, the ending made sense. Trick finally won clean without any help. And like Kev said, right, we're all human. I think it's believable that if I need anybody in the back of the head, one shot to the temple, bro. That's all it takes. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how strong you are. One knee shot to the temple and you're done. So this was very believable. Again, Trick's not a small dude compared to Moose either. I got to see, I know you know him kind of, but I got to meet Trick in Long Island. And you saw my face. I was like, bro, no way he's this big in person. Like, he's massive. So it made sense. It was a good match between two good opponents. We had a little bit of talks or conversations about maybe Moose taking a break after Slam, when he lost his title to Leon. He didn't do that. He went right into the TNA title scene, and he did really well. If he wants to take a break and step back and have him come back and do it again, that's fine. After Santana becomes champion, but you want that's fine with me. I think Moose, he's carried this company for a long time. During the dying days of Impact in the beginning of 2022, he was the face of this brand. So this was a good showing for him in his hometown main event, and I think he's gonna still become world champion at some point, right? He still has a lot that he's gonna accomplish in TNA. For now, I see him taking a little bit of a step back, seeing how it plays out, with Joe Hendry, Mike Santana, and all that, and then he'll come back. But again, it's tough too on where that title scene's gonna go. Joe Hendry last night, you heard that fucking pop?
He still gets the pop, man.
He got the biggest pop of the night. Joe Hendry did by far, and he wasn't even in a match. So again, this worries me a little bit with the future of this title, but to keep on last night, I thought it was a great match.
And listen, when we say that, it's coming from admitting as Santana fans. We are huge Mike Santana fans. but I'm not going to sit here and be naive or neglect that Trick is getting higher reactions by the crowd, as well as Joe Hendry over Mike Santana. Santana still gets his crowd going. No. We are loud. We both are loud, but we're not, yes, Boricuas are everywhere, but it seems
he came out to the crowd last night, and I'm sorry, nobody gave a shit about Santana coming out to the crowd. I'm not saying nobody did. He still got a pop, right? But when that music hit, okay, and then he finally came out through the crowd, and that's when they got hype. You don't get the pops right as soon as you hear the "Yo, Santana was good." As soon as you hear say his name,
not like USB,
the crowd goes ape shit, bro. Yeah. So it's challenging. It's so challenging.
And we got to ask this question, Chris. We all say it should have been Santana's Slammiversary, but are they catering to New York City, or are they catering to a
you know global? What? On the travel back to Pennsylvania from New York, I had to admit that to myself. They weren't catering to New York. They weren't catering to us Puerto Ricans. Hell, we even interviewed Mike Santana, right? That company knows how much we love the guy. They're not catering to anybody specific. They're doing what's best for the company. And look, me and Kev had this conversation off air. We understand that, why Trick is still the champion. And we understand why Mike's not at the end of the day. And it's hard. It's a tough pill to swallow. That's why we sit here and we push for Santana. We want this guy to be our world champion. But if we're talking business, especially, with all these TV deals, them moving up to Wednesdays, all this crap coming out of TNA and what their future is. Now, do you really blame them for keeping it on Trick? No, I don't. Even when we just talked about a couple minutes ago when I met Trick in Long Island. Yo, as soon as he came out, it's like people forgot everyone else was there. And for Trick, I was talking to Joe Hendry. Me and Kev were just chilling, talking to Joe Hendry. And all of a sudden, we look behind us, and the entire fucking ballpark's lined up behind us trying to talk to Joe. Would Santana get that type of reaction outside of wrestling like those two guys did? That's what worries me. And I think that's what TNA is looking at.
You mean the airport test. But here's the one thing. Regardless of the fact, at least me, I'm a ride and die with Mike Santana. Always. I'm riding down with you, Mike. I'm riding down with you no matter what to the end. Always. At least us. We're going to ride and die with you. But we also got to ask these questions. And one way to do it, hashtag we want Mike Santana. Get on board. Yeah. Hashtag buy his merchandise. Get his merchandise going. Get a t-shirt. Buy a shirt. His TNA merchandise. I know he has House of Glory. He has his own stuff as well. That too. Great. Phenomenal. Awesome. Let's make the movement for Mike Santana really great when he comes out. If you're a Mike Santana fan and TNA is going to Minnesota, go support Mike.
Bring Santana a flag to show who you're rooting for. Come on, let's get these out into the arenas with this guy. Not just New York and not just us. We need everybody to fall in line.
There's Puerto Ricans everywhere. Exactly. We are everywhere.
We're not the only Puerto Rican content creators.
And there's not to even be a Puerto Rican. Just because you're Puerto Rican, you got to know if you're a Mike Santana fan, no matter what, if you're Hispanic, white, Chinese, Japanese, French Canadian, French, Nigerian. Shout out to the TCP. All of them. Mike Santana. Let's go, root. If you're a Mike Santana fan or a wrestling fan, or you're a wrestling fan, not just Mike, support your wrestlers. Because when they get released or not re-signed, you can go the hashtag. Sometimes 90% of the time it ain't gonna work. And we're gonna talk about that coming up after the Dynamite as the review there. For Mike Santana, we want Mike. These guys are not. We're not gonna stop writing to Mike Santana. We want Mike. We want him as champion. So we'll see. All in all, I gave this yesterday 8.5. I couldn't give it a 10 because of the Sami Callahan mishap situation there, and there was no title change right now where it didn't need it. To be honest with you, Chris, it really didn't need the title change. Maybe the tag team, maybe, but like you said, it made Heather by Elegance look strong.
No, it makes her look strong going into the Heat Wave match. I thought every single result made sense. Not every single match card needs a title change, bro. It's too soon. We just came back from Slam. This is the first pay-per-view since Slam. Give it a.
Let me ask this question.
He still got Bound for Glory. Yeah, go ahead.
About the Trick Williams Moose.
Yeah.
If the franchise couldn't beat Trick Williams, whoever beats Trick is going to be a made man for TNA wrestling. Special. Yeah. And that's what and you know what? TNA locker room for the men, that's what's on the table. You've got 60 days, under 60 days for Bound for Glory to make that case that you are the special one for TNA going in 2026. Mm-hmm. So go out there, your matches, your promos, your social media accounts, your whatever metrics they use to evaluate the TNA locker room for the men, that's on the table right now. To me, where Trick Williams beating Moose, that's on there. Who could get organically over gets the opportunity to be the face of TNA in 2026 going forward.
I think
with a lot of rumors.
I still think Joe Hendry's leaving. So
okay.
I still think he's out. Like Heather said in the chat, we still got 4 months of Joe. TNA is going to milk it out as much as they can. I think that's what's going to happen.
I mean, let me ask this. Now with all the rumors coming out where TNA is possibly moving to Wednesday night,
they need
television deals coming up here. Looking, CW possible, Peacock Network, A&E. Your thoughts here. Who would be a face of a company to go up against All Elite Dynamite for TNA if they do move Wednesday? Let's hypothetically say they do move.
Okay. Well, you already have Trick Williams as your TNA champion. Why wouldn't you go to the CW? NXT is the best numbers. Rating-wise, NXT is the number one show on that channel. You already have Trick. With Trick on NXT. It's a no fucking brainer. You go to CW. If I'm talking about reasons, obviously, the obvious reason, right, it's Trick. Trick is the biggest thing in NXT, and he has the TNA title. So that alone, CW. But I mean, CW's we all have it. Plug in your antenna. You can plug into an antenna on a TV. You can buy a TV, plug in an antenna, you get the CW. You go on the TV app, you get the CW. I mean, the CW's everywhere. It's the most accessible network. A&E, I don't get the A&E. Please don't go on A&E. I have YouTube TV. I don't want that. Don't go to Peacock. Do not go to Peacock. Do not go to NBC. Go to the CW. If you want to, if we're speaking hypothetically, I think the CW is the best place to go.
USA Network? No USA Network?
Nope. Look at the ratings for NXT on the CW network and look at them now. Or look at the ratings from NXT when they were in USA and look at them now. No.
Okay.
Don't go to the USA Network. All
right. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you out. And do you think on a Wednesday?
No. Absolutely not. But if they're going on a Wednesday though, go to the CW. But no, don't go to the CW regardless, right? But the CW, if you want to compete against AEW, that's the best thing to do. I don't think they should go to Wednesdays at all. I think they should go to Thursdays. Because again, I understand people might want this competition. First off, I'm speaking selfishly for just this reason. I watch both damn products. I cover both damn products. I have to review both of them. Watching them at the same time, selfishly, don't want to do that every Wednesday. Also, everybody's just going to be talking about who had the bigger rating. AEW, most likely, right? Let's be honest for a second. We'll have the higher ratings in the beginning, at least. I think so. I think so. I'll
give you my reason when you're done.
And anyway, like it's not going to be about TNA and them moving forward, right? It's going to be people talking about AEW, this and that, comparing the two. Thursdays is the perfect spot, like you mentioned earlier, right? With kids going to school, it's the Thursday night. Friday's tomorrow. Friday's the weekend. They'll stay up a couple 30 minutes to watch Joe Hendry in the main event. So, but taking AEW out of the equation, I still think they should stay on Thursdays, regardless. They have a good spot on Thursdays. They're the only wrestling show on Thursdays. They have their own day for us to talk about TNA wrestling. It's not Wednesday nights, and you know what I'm saying?
I get you.
But yeah, that's all I got. I mean, right away, it's gonna be a tough for TNA if they go head to head with AEW.
I'm with you. I want TNA to stay Thursdays, not for selfish reasons, because I don't watch the All Elite Wrestling product.
Right.
I don't watch the product. I go by with you. We watch the pay-per-views at times. We'll watch it backstage. We won't cover it like in a watch along.
We'll watch it backstage. Show. We'll do it on the show, weekly wrestling. Right. That's what I meant by that.
Right, yes. But it doesn't mean I'm going to do a watch along. When I mean cover it that way, I don't watch it. Is on a watch along process. Yep. We'll watch it. We'll read it. We'll get the best stuff. We'll listen. We'll see the highlights. We'll read them and we'll talk about it like we're going to talk about in a minute. Personally, I want them to stay on Thursdays. I always told you that back in the day. I don't want to sound like it. Thursday night was the spot where you wanted your best television. Seinfeld was at 9:00 on Thursdays. You had 90210. I'm dating myself. Cosby's, Different World, Cheers, yada yada. It was that Thursday night was the premium prime time where people, because it's pre-Friday, pre-social Friday, where everyone knows they're going to go hang out on a Friday night. Either stay up late, go to the bar, go to the dinner, out to a movies, to show, what yada yada, and you're going to rest up and save money because you're going to party on a Friday. You're going to start your weekend off strong. So you're going to stay home and consume whatever's on and watch. And CW is a over the air where you could get it in all the local affiliates. And that's why I say they're going to do better. Even if they go Wednesdays, they'll do better number wise, because no one takes this to consideration whatsoever. There's a lot of televisions in emergency rooms all across this nation. And in emergency rooms, they have basic cable or antenna. Guess what's going to be on basic cable antenna? The CW network. Or the kids, when you're taking your pediatrics emergency room, and then you have the CW on. Wrestling, let's put it on. At TNA is on either Wednesday or Thursday. Back in the old days, when you were in the airport, you used to, and I'm dating myself, you used to put a quarter in and watch a television. You used to watch the local televisions, and you you watch. But also, if you're admitted in the hospital, sometimes they give you courtesy television. You get the local, whatever free channels. CW will be on the local television in the hospitals, not just in the emergency room, and all across the hospitals. You get to watch it there. That's viewerships. That's people watching it. That's ratings. If they're going to go by, and of course, that's why they don't do those metrics anymore. One thing that hurts them on Thursdays, and we mentioned it, Chris, was the NFL Thursday Night Football. But everyone complains about the Thursday Night Football games, how much they stink. They're too short.
Last season was awful. Last season was horrible for Thursday Night.
They have a stereotype. But you know what that does now, though? When you put CW and NFL on Thursday nights, you get to use that last channel on your remote to switch back to CW and the football game. Back and forth. You don't have to change your outputs to watch, or you could even picture it, where it's going to give them more viewers for TNA. They should stay on Thursday. The only time they have to worry about that maybe is in the winter time, because in the summertime, when they're on Thursday nights, a lot of Major League Baseball games are done early games anyway. Those are getaway games that they start at 1:00 early in the afternoon and so forth. They're not going to compete with the TNA product. Basketball is a different story. Their playoffs are going to they move their playoff games. Listen, that's another issue. That's just for a couple of months with the NBA playoffs. It's up to TNA to put compelling storylines to keep people tuning in during the NBA playoffs. That's just, to me, I think for TNA, Thursdays is a better fit. Wednesdays, I still think it could work. I still think it could give competition to All Elite Wrestling. But selfishly, as a content creator, and it's going to be tough to watch two products and trying to review it. And you're picking and choosing, and that's a tough one. That's a tough one for it. But CW will trump it, because you also, like we said, little kids. You know what? And when when parents are trying to cut costs money wise, and you have CW available, listen, it's like when we were kids. I want a hamburger, and your parents will make you a cheeseburger at home. No, I want a Big Mac from McDonald's. No, get Big Mac. This is burger. You wanted a hamburger? I make it at home. That's the same thing when it comes to the CW. Oh, you wanted wrestling? Well, it's here. No, I want AEW. It's on Max. No, I don't have Max. You're watching it. You're watching CW, and that's a comparison I'm making to when it comes to the wrestling shows, or even Netflix. I know everyone has Netflix, but you're telling me you got another wrestling. If you're telling me that the NWA is on channel your local affiliates, and people, your kids want to watch wrestling. Parents don't know if they don't watch the product. No, you're watching wrestling. That's wrestling. They'll put whatever it's on. My point is, would it work for TNA moving over? It does, but it's gonna hurt it. I hope it doesn't. To make a long story short, not the circle the block to cross the road, to cross the street. That's where it is. Let's go to All Elite Wrestling. In All Elite Wrestling, where a lot of people had a lot of disconnect with the show. Cincinnati, Ohio, small venue. It still looked a little bit empty for a small venue, Chris. 1,100 people there was still some dark spots where the seating. Why? Where
because the show sucks.
Real American Graps has more people going to the arena, and it's in the same city, the same state, where you can say, economics. All right. TNA, NXT, All Elite Wrestling, their tickets are not expensive. They're not cheap either, but they're not expensive. They're reasonable. They're really priced reasonable. Why are the fans not buying these tickets? But meanwhile, they'll spend an arm and a leg and complain about WWE. And this is coming from a non-All Elite Wrestling fans. They should be buying tickets. It's affordable, guys. Support your company because it's affordable. Trust me, it's affordable. If you go and support your company, they're going to have to make better, compelling stories. But if you're not buying tickets, they're going to mail it in. Why should I work my ass off with ideas when you're not buying tickets to our shows and we have to scale down on venues? It's all a hand-in-hand situation when it comes to All Elite, Chris.
All right. Look, guys, I'm done being Mr. Hope. This show sucks. There's no other way to put it. This is probably the worst build to a pay-per-view I have seen in a long time. Why do I say that? Okay. I'm not even going to get into most of what happened, but I will. But this is mostly talking about their build to Forbidden Door, which this show had none of that. So, Darby Allin, I'm going to get to that first. Darby Allin, this is my first take. How come him and Yuta have been going at it for the last 2 weeks, and instead of not giving us Moxley versus Darby one-on-one, you should have gave us Yuta and Darby one-on-one. What do? They put Jon Moxley and Darby in a multi-man steel cage match with who? Will Ospreay, the same guy who came out 2 weeks ago and said he had this big injury and that he missed Forbidden Door, this and that. You have Tanahashi, the president of New Japan, Okada, and Shibata. And Kota Ibushi, Kenny, and Tanahashi. What the hell do they have to do with this feuder match? Gabe Kidd is in this match, and he's the same guy that came out and said he was hurt too. This match makes no sense. What the hell is Will Ospreay, Tanahashi, Kota Ibushi, and Kenny Omega doing in a match that involves Moxley and Darby? No sense. You have Christian Cage and Edge and Adam Copeland teaming up for the first time since 2011 at the Forbidden Door against who? Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne. That hug that you did on Dynamite, why wouldn't you save this for when they win the titles at All Out in Toronto? You rushed this. You rushed the moment. There's no moment happening in Toronto anymore because of it. What? They're going to win the tag team titles? Okay, cool. This should have been, that hug, it should have been when they won the tag team titles in Toronto. They shouldn't have even teamed up for the first time. That tag team match they're doing in Toronto against FTR, and I'll get to that in a second, that should have been the first time we've seen these two tag team since 2011. They rushed it. They rushed their biggest moment that they were going to have in All Out in Toronto, and they rushed it for a bullshit Wednesday night before a meaningless Forbidden Door pay-per-view. This pay-per-view isn't even a New Japan and AEW Forbidden Door. It's AEW versus AEW with an exception of maybe one match. Let's talk about the AEW tag team. You're really going to have the Hurt Syndicate you're really going to have FTR and Bandito fight for a winner spot. Well, we know FTR is going to win the tag team titles to go against Adam Copeland and Edge at All Out. We didn't need to do all this extra shit to put this on the card and make that happen. We knew it was going to happen. Now, Moxley or Hangman and MJF is probably the only thing on this show that I even care to pay attention to, because obviously they're the two biggest stars in the company. MJF got good heat at the end of the show, beating up on Hangman in the car. But I mean, why? No one gives a shit about the ops anymore. Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Shibata. I don't care. When are we gonna stop seeing these guys take up most of the television time? Where was Kyle Fletcher on this show? Where was some of the important stuff on the show? You have Alex Windsor. You're gonna feed her to Mercedes already? Really?
Alex wins.
You brought in Will Ospreay's fiance to make her a star, and you're feeding her to Mercedes? Oh, I wonder where she's gonna go after that. Nowhere. I mean, the only thing on this card, on Forbidden Door, and on this build-up to even give a shit about is the world title between Hangman and MJF, which I still don't like fully, because MJF has this casino gauntlet, and they didn't even make it clear that he was using it to cash in. They kind of just announced. Did they? I missed that completely.
Here it is. This is where I got disconnected or listening.
Yeah.
The week before, MJF, who did he wrestle the week before? That no one
Mark
gives
Briscoe.
like okay. It was, and Hangman made it seem like it was a number one contenders match. Oh, if you win, I'll give you a shot. So It was supposed to be okay. So then on this week's Dynamite, MJF is signing the contract, cashing it in. Wait a minute, didn't he beat Mark Briscoe? Isn't he the number one contender? There is no need for him to sign the stupid contract and say he's going to wrestle.
Good call, because I missed that completely. I totally forgot about that. That is a good call. So that's another reason. That is another reason that's a disconnect, right? Good call, really good call, because I totally forgot about that. The only thing that, look, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm not excited to see Okada and Swerve, but that doesn't mean shit. Swerve had a good, promo, whatever. No one cares about the AEW Unified title. You're really gonna oh my god. I just the shows, they wasted a lot of big moments for this show that really means nothing. It really means
Kevin Knight on.
I don't care about Kevin Knight versus Moxley. He lost. What's Kevin Knight doing? They brought this kid to be the next whatever, and they mixed him up in a tag team with Mike Bailey because they don't know what to do with either of them. I'm sorry. I'm done sitting here and saying they're trying. But they have a lot of all-star challenges. They have a lot of all-stars. They have a lot of all-star matches that don't mean shit. They have a lot of prize money matches that probably you're not getting paid for. It makes no sense, bro. This show makes no sense. It's a disconnect. And the build for the Forbidden Door is not it. It's not it. This isn't even a Forbidden Door. It is an AEW pay-per-view. I don't know. I don't know. They have a few New Japan talents, and then they have that one Spanish girl from CMLL that's probably going to be in that Fatal 4-Way match against Mercedes. But other than that, it's none of these matches really were build up great on Dynamite, or we know what's going to happen. Like, looking at the Hurt Syndicate faces the winners of FTR and Bro Dito. Gee, I wonder who's winning that match. Oh, FTR. Why? Because they're having their match against Christian and Edge at All Out. I don't know. They rushed a lot of things on this show. The build to Forbidden Door is not it with me, bro. It's not.
Here's the thing, and it's not an All Elite issue. I think wrestling companies in general, they go to a crutch. They use things too much. They use it as a crutch. When it comes to All Elite Wrestling, there's a lot of copy and pasting. All-star challenges, let's put all these people all together. WWE does it with Trick. NXT does it with Trick. Too many multi-man matches, Fatal 4-Ways, all that stuff. Tony Khan, after that, he's going to make an announcement, a tournament, or title eliminator casino gauntlet from the Third Power. You tend to roll your eyes like the originality. You had a chance there, and then when you do something, you kind of mess up, or the writers or creative don't. Wait a minute, we can't say that, didn't we? No one's fact checking or making sure that there's not a disconnect when it comes to that world title picture. He's got this contract, but the week before you made him a number one contender. Now he's cashing in. The babyface, that's a babyface move. Like that's an honorable move. I'm gonna be an honorable man.
Yes.
I want to challenge you, brother. At the Forbidden Door, MJF is nowhere near being honorable. He's the TNA, AEW scumbag,
Mm-hmm.
and a scumbag does he cashes in when you're least expected to get that pop. They totally let that emotion go out the door, or at least you captivating on it. That's a disconnect with your fan base, where you want to be different. And those are those things that hurt the company. That's the things that brings the negativity online. And they'd say TNA, the Laugh Out Loud TNA. I have to ask this question: the Laugh Out Loud seems all elite wrestling. They seem like more of the clown show than at least that total nonstop action. They're looking like the Dixie Carter days of wrestling when it comes to with all elite wrestling, and that's a tough one. You know, Tony Khan if the counter programming is bothering him, what WWE is doing to him, boy, is showing, because the product continue to get worse and worse and worse. He needs to put up the Great Wall of Tony Khan up and just go ahead and truck through where he has his vision and his mind. Don't try to counteract, or because you're not a good counter puncher when it comes to Tony Khan and then a fight. You need to do your own thing, your own style, and be your own innovative booker and move forward. Don't worry about if WWE is doing that. Don't worry about if Seth Rollins fake an injury to cash in the Money in the Bank. You don't have to fake it or say or use the Will Ospreay. To me, that's what it seemed like. Ospreay said, "Bruv, I'm gonna copy from Rollins. Everyone knows I am injured, but I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna be out." And then 2 weeks later, you're not even. What was it? Not even. Oh, 2 weeks later, he said at Forbidden Door was 4 weeks when he made that promo. 2 weeks later, he's back in the ring saying he's gonna be in a steel cage match. Like, oh, ¿por qué? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I would love to know that answer too.
Don't even say that. Then about the injury. Then
no. What was the point of that? What was the point of Ospreay coming out and making us think that he's seriously?
He don't help himself.
He's my favorite.
He don't help himself.
This besides Mike Santana, Will Ospreay's my favorite wrestler, bro. I hate that I'm saying this about Will Ospreay right now. He is my favorite wrestler in the world, any company. But bro, I understand you want to be in your hometown, bro. The O2 Arena, we got 17,000 people in there. That is great. The O2 Arena is really, really popular. So I understand if he wants to be, it's one of those things to where he's gonna, go through the injury to be in his home crowd, big show. I understand that. Just don't come out on TV and make it seem like you're missing it and then get put back into this. Right now, he has nothing to do with the steel cage match. Nothing. Neither does Tanahashi, Kota Ibushi, or Kenny Omega. Where the fuck do they come from? When was the last time we even seen Kenny Omega since All In?
Exactly when it was.
So why is he in the match? Why isn't this Willer Yuta is not in the match? Gabe Kidd is in the match and he's hurt. He just said he was hurt. If you're gonna have Darby and Yuta put each other in body bags the last 2 weeks, why won't you add Yuta in the steel cage match at least? It makes no sense, bro. It makes no sense. I honestly don't know what pisses me off more, that or the fact that what they did with Christian and Edge.
I think they rushed that, man. Why was
they
the
rushed
big rush?
it big time. You're gonna tell me, Kev,
for 1,100 people.
Everybody hear me out. You're gonna tell me Toronto, August 24th, or whatever. No, that's Forbidden Door. Whatever they're doing All Out, right? In Toronto, you're gonna tell me that seeing Christian Cage and Copeland, first time tagging since 2011. They're not on good terms. Whatever. But they still want to come together and win this tag team title. You don't think that this hug would have been met way more if they won the tag team titles and they're getting the standing ovation in their hometown and then they hug to go off the show? You don't think that's a better moment than giving us what the fuck we just got on Wednesday? In front of a ballroom in Cleveland with a little less than 1,500 people. Really?
How many of those might have been comped?
How many of those? No. Dude, there are a lot of things on this show, bro. Alex Windsor, you're feeding her to Mercedes in the first week she's there. Jesus, bro. And I didn't even talk about... I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry that I'm keep going on like this, bro. Because I know we've been doing this for almost 2 hours now. But why is it that Adam Copeland and Stokely Hathaway had that. Did you see that match? They had a comedy match, and they had Adam Copeland giving the mics to fans so they could roast Stokely. What the hell is that? What? First off, Stokely has nothing to do with your match going into Gabe Kidd and Kip Sabian, Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian. Where were they at? I mean, this is such a fucking disconnect, bro. And I don't want to sound negative. I understand, but I've been on they're trying and I'm hoping train for 4 years. It's not. I'm done. Like I said, I watch the shows because I want to give a good review on our weekly shows about the show, but we don't want to leave them out. But it's like, yo, makes this shit make sense to me. I understand why people feel the way they feel with AEW. And I don't want to feel this way because, again, I love this company. But it's unwatchable. Nothing makes sense. And they don't seem to care about it.
Look, when it comes to them, it's not like they needed Edge and Christian a hug last night to sell more tickets for the Forbidden Door. That was already at over 12,000 tickets 17. Already sold. They're at 17, but they didn't need that hug to get those tickets going. They didn't. Matter of fact, Will Ospreay saying that he's injured. But when he said he was injured, they were at 10,000 already. It's not like they needed it, the ticket sales for him to say, "Put away your injury. We need you to wrestle." If they do, if it's up. No, they didn't need it. I think All Out is doing pretty good in Toronto too. It makes me ask this question. I think All Elite Wrestling is an international company. Wrestling market. I think they need to cater for the UK crowd, the UK wrestling. That should be their home base.
Yeah.
I think it's time that we have to have that question. I think it's time.
I think it's time that I think it's a good question to ask. I don't want to say international. I'm saying just the UK. Look what they tried to do in Australia.
Dog, that was a joke.
That was a disaster.
Buddy Matthews
the fans were pissed. Everybody was pissed. The Australian fans were so upset with the way that AEW handled their trip to Australia. It seems like they never have a problem when they're in the UK. They cannot draw 17,000 in the States for a show that's not All In.
No.
Hell no.
And they need to go there. Look, it's time already where the cons have to make a hard look in the mirror. We need to take our operations along with the Jacksonville Jaguars and go to London. Seriously. That's what they have to have that conversation.
Now we're speaking of that. Yeah, now we're getting. This is the last Sunday pay-per-view for a long time.
Right.
We're gonna get Saturday night pay-per-views too with this company because Tony Khan has Jacksonville Jaguars obligations. So the pay-per-views could be worse for AEW.
And he's running them to. Maybe that's why he loads them up when there's football season. You're gonna have to watch time-wise when it comes to AEW for all you diehards, or
the football season's awful because he's never there. Him being there doesn't help the show either. But during football season, he stacks everything up. He stacks everything up he stacks everything up during the off season because during football, I even think he knows people aren't gonna pay much attention. Even I don't know. It's they need somebody. They can't rely on Tony. I understand Tony's he can be the founder, the guy who runs it. But when it comes to the creative, this guy will never give the pen to somebody else, especially during football season. You're going to tell me football with Tony Khan, this football season's a little different, bro. They just got Travis Hunter. You don't think they're putting their time into Travis Hunter and making this season try to be something? What's he going to do? I say that because what's his focus going to be, bro? All Elite Wrestling or the Jaguars? It hurts. It hurts either or. It hurts the Jaguars or it hurts AEW. He needs to give that fucking pen to somebody else.
And maybe the company, All Elite corporate office might be in Nashville, but everyone and their mother knows the Khan operates out of Jacksonville.
Yes.
Their corporate office could be in I
thought their corporate office was in Jacksonville.
No, Heather says they're in Nashville.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Listen, WWE is in Stamford, Connecticut, but all their freaking in-ring action is in Orlando, Florida when it comes to the Performance Center. So
No, that makes sense.
So yeah, so it could be that one of those type of deals when it comes to the WWE and stuff. Yeah, TNA still says they're in Nashville as well, and Carlos Silva's told us on our show that if they're looking to do something in Orlando. So I don't. So
yeah,
who knows?
I mean, Nashville's where TNA literally got started. I always just thought their headquarters was, the Jaguar Stadium, bro, where they do everything else. I just thought that was their headquarters, Daly's Place or something. But I'll take it.
Probably All Elite Wrestling. The wrestling maybe is in Jacksonville.
Oh.
I mean, in
I thought everything was in Jacksonville, even their corporate office. But obviously, I'm wrong. But the point is, they need to go to the UK.
Yeah, because they need to go to the United. UK is their audience.
I didn't like the show this week. I'm actually happy we talked more about TNA.
You're not the only one that didn't like it. Me, no, and I didn't watch it, so I'm not going to say I hate it or love it. I'm just going by reacting by what you and what I'm hearing.
No, I didn't like it. Like I said, I'm not feeling WWE to the point either. I mean, we didn't watch SmackDown yesterday, so we're not going to sit here and act like we did. But bro, was not a strong show. I had it on in the background. I was looking back and forth. It didn't seem like a strong show. What I heard, you had Cena in Boston, didn't even have it. Like
the only thing that came out of it was Sami Zayn Sami Zayn now belongs to SmackDown. That's wow. He's chasing the hug. Now he abandoned the world title picture hunt, and now he wants to
go play with. Yeah, he left the world title hunt to go with Jacob Fatu.
No, to team up to no. He wants to take Solo Sikoa's United States title away from him.
I know, but that tag team match last night, like that wasn't a strong main event.
So then you want so if you're Jacob Fatu, yay! Come on over. I'm gonna shake that you're gonna come and take the title that I'm trying to chase.
Exactly.
So it make sense. So it's because Sami Zayn. And then I'm gonna make this statement. This is if it's gonna be an offensive statement. I'm gonna say it right now. So I do apologize if you find it offensive. What I'm going to say. When it comes to Sami Zayn, talk about a man that wants to play all the fences. Are you Arab? Are you a white man? Are you a French Canadian? Because boy, you play a lot of convenience game, brother. Because you don't see that with Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali is Muslim, but Mustafa Ali is a little tannish. People don't like him. He don't play that role. Well, he's a white guy now, redheaded guy. I noticed that a lot from Sami Zayn.
I don't like Sami Zayn.
Si fuera negrito, a little coffee, a little no, you make up your mind. You're this person, but you want to play that game. I'm a Caucasian, I'm Arab, I'm Syrian, I'm Canadian. One thing is, I don't want to see enough. I don't want to see more of you. That's just where I'm at when it comes to Sami Zayn. That's just me. Told you it was gonna be a hot take, and I'm apologizing.
I'm on the same. I didn't say that, but I feel the same way you do. I'll say it right now. I agree with everything Kev just said. He is not wrong. And then he goes on social media and wants to play the victim. Wants to play the no.
No. ¿Te peina o te hace rolo, papá? Porque, bonito que esa piel es clarita, papá. I'm going to say it in Spanish. Qué bonito que la piel es clarita. Cuando tú eres negrito, you wouldn't be, you wouldn't be getting the opportunities and the love. No.
Yeah, it's interesting with him. I other than all that stuff, I've said this before. You can't have a bad match with Sammy. He's great at what he does in the ring. His character has been the same shit since day one. He's just so fucking corny when he's a baby face. Him and Kevin Owens think screaming in a promo is delivering it good. I mean, dude, change your fucking self for once, bro. I understand you were funny and you changed a little bit during that Bloodline stuff. Now you're just the same old fucking lumberjack you were when you got in here. It's the same shit with Sami Zayn for the last 7 years. So
honestly, the office sees something. They gave him opportunities where others don't. And I don't know what happened on Friday Night SmackDown, I know Monday Night Raw in Quebec, there were crickets for "We Want Karrion Kross."
No, SmackDown, there was all Karrion Kross chants. I kept seeing him on my Twitter feed during Emergence. Right when Sami walked out, they started chanting "We Want Kross." As soon as Sami got the mic.
So here's the question: WWE wants to say they're a global conglomerate. Are they catering to United States that want Karrion Kross, or are they going to cater to to global?
Neither. Neither.
Okay.
They're catering to the money in their pockets.
I love that answer.
They're catering to those idiots with suits and ties. They're catering to the money in their pockets. That's what it is. Look, the business part of WWE is booming. I understand that. But if you think that doesn't hurt creative, you're wrong. You're wrong. WWE creative is not as strong as people thought they were going to be with TKO and all this other stuff. We knew the business side of things was going to go up. But we knew that if you really knew like we did, we knew the creative was going to, at some point, go off. And that's exactly what's happening. That's why I feel the disconnect with I'm not just... some of this stuff for AEW, I could feel about WWE. They just kind of both disconnect a little bit. That's why I'm enjoying the fuck out of TNA. Because they have me connected. They have me invested. I know what's going on.
Well, if you're Gail Kim,
I don't want to know everything, right? Not saying what's gonna happen and then being surprised. I like being wrong, right? But at the same time, it's like, don't insult anybody's intelligence, bro. Like, I hate to use that phrase. I know the idiot from New York likes to use that too, but don't insult my fucking intelligence with this shit. That's what it seems like the last couple of months with WWE. That's what we're talking about right now. It does. Look, they're booming, but that creative and the WWE fans are still gonna like it. They're diehards. I don't know how. Some of you guys are still gonna pay those ridiculous prices to go to their shows, and they're not gonna do anything about it. That's
the problem. When you have people shelling out money to go see that product, and they making money hand over fist. But here's the problem, though. There's a slippery slope. Because if you stop buying the product and you start going to the tickets, they're going to need a fall guy. And the fall guy is going to be Paul Levesque.
He already is.
But you and I know that Paul Levesque is the best thing that can happen to WWE currently right now. Creatively.
Of course. Creatively, of course. But we've been saying this for months, bro. There is an internal battle between Triple H and TKO. That's why he probably won. That's why he's in Greece right now on a yacht with his family. He wants to get away from all that shit, bro. I don't blame him either. Like, I don't know. I'm not Triple H's biggest fan. I'm not Triple H's biggest supporter. But I have a feeling that a lot of these people just aren't letting the man do what he can do. A lot of people are in his way, whether it's TKO, Ari Emanuel, The Rock, Mark Shapiro. Yeah. He's a big factor. Mark Shapiro. That dude. If the area, Mark Shapiro's the one that I go like this about. Not necessarily Ari Emanuel. It's Mark Shapiro.
I think so.
Because I hear Stephen A talk about him a lot, and he sounds like the guy that, is a little bit, Can
we ask this question? Yeah. Can we ask this question? Do you think TKO, like Mark Shapiro, don't want to see the WWE greater than the UFC?
Well, why would you bring them both on board then?
I'll give you an example. Yeah, WWE announced that beautiful contract with the multi ESPN and meanwhile, 2 days later, look what the UFC did. $1 billion a year, more than the WWE to Paramount. That's what it feels like. That's the internal battle. They want to still make UFC bigger or sound larger than professional wrestling, brother.
That's a good one. That's a good point to make. Because again, UFC is a sport, right? WWE's people view it as a scripted television act or something. So I understand that, but at the same time, if those two are competing with each other, which is let's be honest. It has seemed that way for a little bit, even without this partnership. Why would you want them under the same umbrella? You're hurt. Yes, that's the main reason. Of course, that is the obvious answer. But it's like you're now. I hope they're gonna realize that they're gonna hurt one or the other. They're both not gonna, be the way they expect it. One's gonna go back here, and one's gonna keep going over. WWE's the one that's going back. UFC's the one that keeps going over. And let's be honest, and UFC's they're the UFC. It's tough. It's tough because all eyes are more on the UFC than WWE. Let's just be honest. You disagree with that?
I disagree.
I think more people watch WWE than the UFC.
Here's what the UFC draws. Ugh. You know what the UFC draws, Chris? Gambling, money, because people want to gamble for fights that are not scripted. That's it. The same thing with the NFL. NFL is only popular because of the fucking gambling. Because if you tell me you go head to head with no gambling with baseball to me trumps football. It's just a hot take. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm an old guy because baseball has always been the national pastime. But once you start incorporating gambling and money, rosters, fantasy, yada yada, football is popular on a Sunday, and then the day they pick because they made it feel. But UFC over WWE or professional wrestling, period, professional wrestling trumps because it's been around longer than the UFC fighting. Yeah, underground fighting because they're taking up a spot for boxing. For boxing, drop the ball because of the money that you could exchange. I'm going to gamble with you for this guy who looks like a monster to kick this guy's ass. Yeah, how much money? People like violence. People intrigued to that. And if you're putting money down, because it's been going on since biblical days, gambling, waging goats and cows and sheeps for who could fight in the pit and yada yada. And when it comes to professional wrestling, it's scripted, but it's an art form of a soap opera that we like to watch, episodic. I think to me, wrestling's a little more popular, but that's the internal battle that they have. That's just my opinion. We could agree to disagree 1,000%, but that's just my opinion.
No, you're not wrong with the gambling stuff. That's why. It doesn't work. You can't put gambling in professional wrestling because it doesn't work. It's scripted. The writers know, and it's so many leaks. You telling me they wanted? There are some places that you can though, because CVV promotes it. He's like, use my code, and he'll read it like the odds for Bailey to beat Becky are -2. Like,
Chris, you want to put gambling when you have guys like a Cory Booker from posting all the shows, rundown and who's wrestling first and all that. Gambling doesn't work in wrestling. When you got guys like that want to go out there and spoil the art or the making.
That's why I'm surprised CVV promotes that shit, bro. Because I wonder how much.
It's his sponsors money. Who's not going to say no to money? We need a sponsor. They're telling us to sponsor gambling. For wrestling, we'll take it in a heartbeat. We need sponsors. We need money. We need to upgrade our equipment. We need to upgrade our equipment, our videos, our computers. But it needs sponsorship. We're doing this for the fun. But right now, at this point, we want to go to these. We got privilege to go to these events, to go be part of the media. We have, now we need money to go to this. Those airline tickets are costly. I don't want to fly always in Frontier. Nothing wrong with Frontier, but it's just not. It's not the fun is to fly. You know what I mean? So I get it. If they telling us give us a sponsorship for DraftKings or whatever, hell's yeah. You've seen the wrestlers now use my promo code. I think the AEW's got a bunch of wrestlers doing DraftKings. I saw Sky Blue.
No, they are, and you can bet on AEW, which is stupid.
Yeah, I think her promo code is
gambling on pro wrestling. Period is stupid.
Chris says, I hope Tony Khan, he has his heart in the right place, giving opportunities for wrestlers to work. But I'm agree with you. I don't think he's good for wrestling, but that's just me. But this is it.
No, he was good for when AEW first started. I think he was when AEW first started because, like you said, people were getting released from the WWE at that time. There was nowhere else to go. But I gotta agree with Chris right here. The product is garbage, and that's what matters. So
he jumped the shark. When he jumped the shark? When he went with Tony Schiavone to talk about Roppongi Vice. He's the only con that matters in professional wrestling. Yeah. I'm like, oh, That is biting him in the ass.
I think that was a start, but I truly think the downfall was All In. Their very first All In, ironically, was the downfall. Them airing that Punk footage was it, because it made them look stupid. I think that's why AEW that's where their downfall.
They're never going to recover from that.
Nope.
Showing that, because there was nothing positive for All Elite
everything
Wrestling.
Everything Punk said was right, and they showed that footage, and they made AEW made themselves look wrong. Can't defend that anymore, bro. I'm done doing it. I'm done doing it.
You can't defend that. You can't defend that when you make the poor man take the fucking subway.
When you lose day one fans like me, you're fucked.
Wow. Well, that's the program. Lucha Libre AAA tonight. We'll be going live tonight.
All right, took a little long on the AEW rant, man.
Check out our. No, that's a passion of a fan, of a wrestling fan who used to love AEW, who does love. I still think you do love AEW.
I love AEW. That's why it's annoying what I'm seeing, bro. Like I said, Ospreay's my favorite wrestler. I don't want to be saying this shit about.
Because if you didn't care about it, you wouldn't have been going.
But I'm not
passionate.
Yeah, and I'm not. But what I'm also not gonna do, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend everything's okay.
And
that's
a
lot of these people are doing. That's why, So we appreciate you guys joining us today, man.
That's why we get mad when I get mad with NXT at times. You know, to me, that's near and dear to my heart. And I get mad when I see certain things like, why are we doing this and this and that?
Absolutely,
because we care about it. It's not like I don't give a shit anymore. But join us tonight. Please like, subscribe, share our channel. We do weekly wrestling. We also going to review. We do immediately recaps for TNA. We're going to try to sprinkle in NXT because we get up super early the next day for our Monday to Friday jobs. Super early to give 3 hours of sleep to come back and cover wrestling is a little too much for me. I would love to do review shows afterwards, but we also need you guys to share the program. Helps us in the algorithms on the YouTube channel. Thank you guys. The chat, you've been on fire. Chris, Heather, everyone that's been in our chat. Thank you so much, Chris Denver, Samurai, Luke Perry, everyone that's been in the chat. It helps the algorithm. It helps show the YouTube channel that we're a force. Feel the force. We also do our interviews here. We have an interview this Tuesday, of course, with an independent wrestler. Can't wait to talk to her. We're getting more guests on. You know, right now, it's summer's ending, so people are taking their time to go to the beach, vacation, do the outdoor stuff before they get cooped up in the winter time. And we understand that the interview process is a little hard. You know, they have routines, and they're also taking advantage of the warm time before the cold weather hits in the north, especially the wrestlers that we interview from up north and so forth. No problem. We know the interview situation is going to get more and more better and more guests on as the seasons change. So we're ready. We're up and ready to go. But definitely help us out. We don't ask you guys for financial super chat money, although we're more than welcome if you guys want to donate to the show. Again, it helps us with the equipment, with getting sponsors, getting to go to the venues, to actually have physical interviews with people. We ask you to help us financially, yes. But you know, if you don't have the means, because listen, a quick share the damn YouTube video on your social media platform. Hey, check these guys out. They might not be your cup of coffee, but give them a chance.
Yeah.
To me, that's a compliment. You're telling people they might not be your type of guys, but give them an opportunity. Listen, to me, that goes a long way. Just the word of mouth, the shares, the like, helps us big time on all the social media platforms. That's all we ask for. We more than welcome for the financial help, absolutely. But we just want to have people listen and hear your thoughts and have a two-way talk, dialect, debate. No one's right, no one's wrong in our debates.
Yes.
No one. And by the way, for those that want to tweet about ChatGPT, I don't use ChatGPT. I use Gronk. With that, I say good afternoon to everyone. We'll see you tonight.
Well, that makes